Yep. Awesome. Well, welcome everyone to
Call number 5.
call number 5. Wow, we've been doing this for 5 weeks already. So we've been talking at first about how to make money with Mailbox Power, and we talked about, if you haven't been on, you can go back and watch the replays. We talked about how to get your membership paid for and how to create a $800 or $1,600 marketing budget for you and to teach businesses to do the same. Last week, we kind of opened it up for questions, comments, or success stories. And so we helped Eileen last week through a scenario, a actual conversation she had with somebody, and wanted to see if she could have handled it different. So why don't we open up the call today and we want to hear from you. What do you have questions on some of the stuff that we've taught on, or are you having a stumbling block in your business that maybe the whole collective can help with?
I have a success story. I wasn't here last week, but I do have a little bit of a story for any of you who are talking to people who are using the list generator.
Okay.
We ran a list for a Medicare agent. First of all, we used her list that she was given by the insurance company, and we modified the postcard to accommodate what she wanted to say, and no results. I mean, she sent out like 400. There was nothing, and she got a slug of them back that had bad addresses. So we discussed it, and we ran a Mailbox Power list, and we experimented, did 50 of them with cards, her 50 cards, rather than sending a postcard. However, I didn't really look at it. I don't know. I think she put too much information on there, quite honestly. I don't think she got any results. But we did do postcards, and she got none of them back. All of the addresses were good out of the 100, and she has gotten 8 new customers. Just because,
Awesome.
yeah, 8 new customers, 8 new clients. And a part of it was, well, obviously it was a postcard. It was personalized to them, and the message was, I'm not an 800 number. I'm a local agent. I live in your area. We did it in her area. So she's really tickled. She sent out 2. I convinced her to send out another one the last week, so it would have gone out today. So I mean, it's not a huge success story, but she's tickled. So just the fact that it was working. So
I think that's a huge success story, and we need to get that for corporate too, to have 8 get 8 customers out of it in a short period of time. She hadn't even sent 3. I think that's a huge success.
well, I will talk to her, see if she wants to, she's very closed. She doesn't want other Medicare. She doesn't want me to talk to any more Medicare agents. Don't be talking to anybody. Don't talk to anybody in this part of town.
Well, she doesn't have to give her name, and she doesn't even have to say what part of the country she's in. But if she could just say that she bought a Medicare list and the results versus buying a list from Mailbox Power and the results she got from that, that's huge.
Right. Right.
And was it the same message, Linda, on both cards?
Yeah, the first one we just said hello, and the second one we said hello again. And the third one we said, I think she put on there, third time's a charm. So she has her husband is also sending cards in his with the same message in a different zip code, because he does it as well. So
Nice.
anyway, yeah, so she's tickled about it.
Nice. Well, congratulations.
I've spent a lot of time on. I told her I wanted a story. I've had to take her by the hand, show her, you know how some people are.
Yep.
And however, I talked to somebody else who's wants me to do some work, and he said, "No, I'm going to pay you for
Mhm.
your time." Usually, I give 1 hour. I give them an hour, set up a campaign or an automation, get them going. But I've had a couple of people that then as came on as affiliate. Well, then they want me to do that with the people they bring on. Well, I've pulled the plug on that. I'm going to, I will say I'm going to charge, I don't know, $35 an hour. I will work with the people that you brought on and I'll help them get going.
Yep.
But I'm not, I've trained 3 of her people, but she was a BNI member and blah, blah, blah. You know how that goes.
Well,
I
and
learned my lesson. I'm not going to do that anymore.
yeah. Well, and I think we're going to talk about that toward the end, but I think Philip had a question or a challenge.
Or a success story.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting you're talking about Medicare because I'm up in Canada where we don't have such an animal. Well, we call it Medicare, but we don't sell any Medicare supplementary insurance. So I really hadn't given a lot of thought to that market. But it just so happened that I was going through my Facebook friends the last couple of days and sending some birthday wishes, and I noticed that a couple of them were Medicare salespeople. And I thought I should learn something about this market. So I reached out to Renee Shannon. I don't know if you know her, but and I just said, hey, could you educate me on the market and what you've done and what you've been successful with? And we had that conversation about a couple of hours ago. And it was very informative because all I knew about the market was the fact that turning 65 was kind of an important deal. And, a lot of times when we're talking about the list builder, and Linda can probably elaborate on this, but you can go in and pull a list of people who are going to turn 65
In a
And so
particular month.
in a particular month. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I went in and played around with the list builder to see that. And I thought, because I'm looking to learn more about it so that I can then share it with people that I know who happen to be friends in the US who happen to be Medicare salespeople. And a couple of things that I learned from Renee, which I would pass on, and she uses it personally, and she also has a team of other agents. So, which she shares, she basically shares the cards that she makes, and because she's not using the ones in the back office, she created some of her own. So I wasn't quite as brazen to ask to see them all, but I might go back. But she says she actually has been at this for 15 years, and I think she was with Send Out Cards beforehand. And she found the sweet spot was actually 2 to 3 months beforehand, rather than 6 months. People, when the birthday gets a little closer, apparently it becomes a little bit more of a priority, right? And she actually does a 6-card drip campaign, and she's mailing to about 200 people or something. That's right. So it's a bit of a commitment. But and she, like myself, has found that QR codes are not quite as absolutely fabulous as we all think they are. I've learned that when I use Mailbox Power to promote my Beamer business, and I've done a number of mailings, and really I keep looking at my flow code analytics, waiting to see all the people who are scanning it, and I'm not seeing that very often. So that's where I maybe reach out, get some help from this group here to see what you've found, if sending them to landing pages or giving them an 800 number to call or your phone number, or what you're getting the best responses on.
So for us, it depends on the industry and it depends on the age group of your ideal client. The younger, the better the QR codes work. The older generation, does understand QR codes now because of COVID, and restaurants using them in order to order off of menus and that. So they get it. They're just not as, I think, open to the technology as the younger.
Right.
They don't want to do it on their phone. So that's what happens is you put it, pick up the phone to use the QR code. Then you're at a website that's on your phone.
Yeah.
And you don't want, and I'm very techy for an old gal, but I don't want to do that on my phone either. And I have a good sized phone. So that would be, just to mention, I quit using QR codes too.
The other thing that we've done with the QR codes is we've actually also put the web address right underneath the QR code. And that way, if they don't want to use the QR code, or they just
don't
want
know
to
how.
use the computer,
Good
they've
idea.
got the web address.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing that too.
Yeah.
So,
And then a phone number. I think that you need to have 2 to 3 ways to contact people that are using, our customers that are using the system. If there's only a phone number, you get less response than if there's a phone number and a website, or a phone number, a website, and a QR code. We're just finding that
Email
the
address.
more, email address, the more options you give them to contact you, the better.
yeah.
So that's what I would say. And then I know you can't use the list builder up in Canada because it's not available to you.
Right.
But if you have, I know that there are list builder type tools in Canada, because Kathy Baxter's told us of some. So if you don't know of them, reach out to Kathy. And she'll share the one, I think she's still using it. I don't remember the name of it, but there is one up there in Canada. So if there's anybody in the US that has Canada clients that are looking for a list builder type of tool, there are some tools out there, just not through Mailbox Power.
Okay. Does anyone?
I'm happy to run a list for you, Philip. I want to talk to you about Beamer and marketing to Beamer people. So offline, I want to reach out to you, and maybe we can strike a deal.
Okay. QR codes on my profile.
I don't have my phone. Oh, yes, I do.
Well, so's my phone number.
Okay.
What was I saying? We lost our person finder in the back office, and there was talk about replacing that. The last time I inquired, they said we're busy moving office. That's not going to happen for a while. Does anyone know anything about it?
I don't know of any. I haven't heard of any movement to bring it back. The reason why Person Finder was taken away is because we lost they don't provide the age demographic anymore. And so think of like a Michael Sanchez in Colorado Springs. There's 50. A lot of them. Yeah. And if you can't even tell by age, then it's not very useful. And I heard today, I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard today that even Facebook ads are going to get rid of income and some of those age and discriminators. So I don't know if it's laws that are now in place or not that protect, information. I have no idea. Any other suggestions?
The U.S. has always been a lot more liberal with that than the Canadian Privacy Act, which is
they're probably starting to tighten that down a little bit.
Yeah. Any other suggestions for Philip?
I think the answer is probably just do more of the above. It's I did like an initial 100 as a sample to see how that would work. So maybe I just have to double up on the investment or triple up on the investment. And it would sure be nice to get a return like eight responses, but I haven't seen that yet.
Well, let me ask you this.
Mhm.
How many have you sent?
Well, I've been working in a number of different markets, and so I think initially I did 200. I did 400 out using the list builder.
So when
But the challenge there is that I was looking at the equestrian market, and I have at which the horse blanket is one of our products, very successful. And I got really excited when I looked at the list builder and saw that there was under the hobbies and interest was equestrian. So I actually did my first mailing was 400. And I think I got 3 people who actually, I didn't have a landing page to send them to at that point, so I was actually sending them to a Google Voice number to leave a message for me to call them, or to text me if they were going to text me their name, and then I could look them up in the list builder and figure out who they were. So I got a very low response, but then I figured, yeah, I don't know, maybe someone subscribes to an equestrian magazine or something, but they don't actually have a horse, and I don't know how. So I've actually got a virtual assistant in the Philippines helping me create my own list builder for equestrians.
awesome.
Right.
The the reason why I'm asking, Philip, is it sounds like, and I might be wrong, but it sounds like you went and bought 400 and you did one mailing to those 400 people. What we have learned is you need to mail to that list at least 3 times to get a good response. You're much better off, instead of doing 400, do 100 and mail 4 times, same cost, or do 100 and do 400 and mail twice or 3 times if you can. The corporate is finding that it takes at least 3, and if you can mail 7 or more, that's where the true results are, because the national statistics say that it takes 7 to 12 times to see your brand, your message, your name, your logo. They need to see your stuff that many times before they'll decide to purchase. So too many people with Mailbox Power try to do a one and done. And so we're trying to teach people to narrow down the list, make it smaller, and do more mailings, number of mailings, to get better results.
Right.
The only other thing I would add is like the situation that Linda shared with us, anything you can do to show very succinctly some commonality with your audience. In Linda's case, I'm not an 800 number. I'm, a local insurance agent in our area. Anything like that you can do to warm it up, make them feel a connection with you, it's more likely to get some response.
Yeah, good advice.
Awesome.
One thing that I'll bring up is Brenda was working on a postcard for a concierge client that we have. And it was great information, but that's just what it was just information. And when she asked me to read it, I said, well, why would I want to book travel with her as opposed to anybody else? What sets her apart? And I remember reading a blurb about her. I think Brenda even told me that she's an ambassador's daughter, a former ambassador's daughter, who had the privilege to travel the world with him. And that's what her love of travel came from. So I said, put that in there, because that actually sets her apart and shows that she loves to travel and has done it.
And adds an element of curiosity about what, and I would say that the same about the equestrian thing. I'm not a marketer, understand. I just, I have an opinion about everything, but I'd be tempted, if I was doing that, to say, do you own a horse? And then, I'd like to tell you about this, whatever it is that Beamer does. just give me a call. I'd like to talk to you if you own a horse or if you know somebody that has a horse and could use blah, 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 whatever Beaver does for horses.
Mm.
And I wouldn't say anything else. I would just say, give me a call.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk to you, because as soon as you start saying a whole bunch of stuff, people don't read it.
Right.
I have the
Yeah.
attention span of a gnat. If I see that, if I don't see a horse on there, a cool looking horse and a couple little message that piques my interest, it would be in the garbage. But that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, I've definitely been asking questions, a question and a call to action, but possibly putting too much on the card. So that's good advice, Linda. I probably just
Or maybe put a thought bubble, put a horse in it and with a little text that says, "I've got an owie," something. Does your horse have an owie? Something like
Okay, I wonder if I can get that past compliance.
But I really do think that the more you can personalize your message somehow,
Yeah.
something that sets you apart from everyone else, it really does make a difference in the way people perceive you as an individual and whether or not they want to do business with you. But anybody else have anything?
Well, one other thought is, and this would be using a QR code, but just a little short video of you saying hello, just so they can see you, hear your voice, feel your energy. That's makes you different.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. That's
And
a really
even a video of you with a horse
Yeah.
would go a long way.
Yeah.
So,
good idea.
well, the topic we wanted to talk about tonight was strategies for getting your new Mailbox Power affiliates off to a great start. And
I'm sure you all have your own strategies that you're using. So I'm hoping that this actually generates some conversation around the topic. But we put together just a list of things that we go over with our new affiliates. And the first thing we want them to do is actually start using the system. So how do you do that? You have, I'm sorry.
what was that? Are we good?
We good? So the first thing we do is we actually just have them start using all of the cards that come with the memberships. So if they get 50 cards with their membership, find a way to have them send out all 50 cards every month. Same thing with executives. Make sure that they are using the system and using up all of the cards that come with their memberships. What happens occasionally is we'll get someone who cancels their membership, and we ask them, we always make contact with them and ask them why. And most of the reason is they're not using the system. So the sooner you can get people using the system, the easier it is for them to become sticky and stay with the system. And how do you do that? Birthdays, half birthdays, thank yous, holidays. There's always a reason to send cards and get all those cards sent out.
And there's lots of designs in the design catalog. So usually when somebody's new, there's one of two things. They're either using it to build their business, in other words, prospect, or to nurture their current database. So if they're going to nurture their current database, I want to get a spreadsheet to upload, or I want to help them craft a message to send via email so that they can collect at least 50 or 200 addresses so that they can start sending those cards if they don't already have it. But if they have it, get it exported out of whatever system they have and imported in, and then go grab, there's lots of 12 touch automations. There's the holiday, it's actually a 13 touch, and you can always delete one, but there's 2 in November. But there's a 13 touch holiday, there's the charcuterie board, automation. There's quite a few 12 touch automations that are already in the system. And even if they're saying to me, but I'm not sure if that's what I want to use, I want to get them on one of those. I said, but let's get you started here until we can craft one of your own. And then we can pause that and start the other one, because I don't want them to feel like they've gone 1, 2, 3 months without using what they consider the biggest benefit of the system, which I don't see it as the biggest benefit. It is one of the benefits. And so we want to make sure they're doing that. And if they're farming, I want to make sure that we've built a list. Obviously, you got to do at least 100, but a list of 100 to 200 people so that they can send cards out. And there are prospecting cards for different industries in the back office also. So at least the first couple of months, they can be using those cards instead of postcards for prospecting, because obviously a card in the mail that comes in an envelope is a little more personal than a postcard.
And the first benefit that they actually get by sending out cards is they're in front of their customers. So it's that recognition piece that will keep them in front of their customers every single month and keep them top of mind. The nice thing, and I think we've mentioned this in probably a previous call, is with send out cards, what they focus on is the heartfelt card. Whereas Mailbox Power, we and I probably shouldn't have said that, but what we focus on is a two-pronged approach. Okay, we have the postcards, which for me is the marketing piece. I think that's the one piece that we were missing with the other platform, is the marketing part. And the cards, the 5x7 cards, are actually the relationship building part of Mailbox Power. So if we use the postcards for marketing and the cards for relationship building, I think does a great thing for your clients' customers. And then the other strategy that we usually approach or broach with our affiliates is, again, that paid for, making sure that they also sponsor for either customers or affiliates, so that they have their system paid for. If they have the system paid for, it's a lot less likely that they're going to leave, because they're not paying anything for a system that's actually paying them.
And I've had people say, but I need to know everything about the system before I share it with somebody else. And I say, for me, I say to them, well, I actually would rather have you introduce me to your audience, and then I can share Mailbox Power, because you don't know all the ins and outs of Mailbox Power yet. And I'd be glad to do that for the first 2 to 3 calls. Now, if you're not somebody that wants to do that with your downline because you're not comfortable, maybe you're new, remember that we have all those overview calls. We have on Mondays, we have the insurance and the real estate and the general business. And on Tuesdays, we have the network marketing direct sales one. And if none of those work, before we had the overviews, I invited people to the 101s, because generally on the 101 training, we take people through the system and show them how the system works. And that gives somebody a good idea of whether this is a system that would work for them in their business. So there are 6 opportunities for the 101 and 4 opportunities for an overview. So we have 10 opportunities a week where we don't even have to present. Somebody else is doing it for us. Well, those of us that train, we have to present. But for the rest of you, you don't even have to worry about it. You just invite people to those and then check in with them afterwards. And I always say to them, my goal I want to get your system paid for before your first billing cycle. So by the first billing cycle, I want to help you bring on at least 2 or 3 so the majority of your membership is paid for, and then you're not even thinking about it.
The upside to that too is even though you get them started right and everything is going well, their system's pretty much almost all paid for. If they should decide that this isn't really for them and they decide to cancel their membership, what happens is those people that they brought on actually roll up to you. So it's a win-win all the way around, I think, especially if you can get the customers to stick and the affiliates to stick with you.
Sometimes I'm tempted to say, okay, go ahead. Yeah, you're not using it. Just go ahead. I'll take those 4 people.
Yeah. So Linda, I've actually used that when I've gotten the text messages that somebody's canceled, or I get a phone call saying I'm not really using it. I'm thinking about canceling. I'm said, that's fine. Just realize that the 2 or 3 or 4, whatever it is that you have signed up under you, those will roll up to us, and really your membership is either paid for or close to paid for. Do you realize you're only paying $10 for your membership? You're really not paying the full price or that. And they're like, oh, and then you usually don't lose them. But if you do, you've won because you've actually gained more frontline than you had. You only had 1. So I find it as a leverage point to be able to reach out and say to people, are you sure you want to do that? I just had one last week and she canceled, and I reached out to her and I said, you realize you have 3 pro members under you and you're a pro member, so yours is really getting paid for. She said, yeah, but I've changed what I'm doing and I don't have that business anymore. And I said, but you have a system that is paid for that you could use for now what you're doing now. And, if something happens and they fall off, then you can make a decision then, but she's got opportunities to share it in her new stuff. And she's like, yeah, you're right. And so she renewed her membership. If she hadn't, we would have just added more, in a way, frontline memberships because they would have rolled up.
Yeah.
And I'm honest with them. I'm like, I'll take the money. I'm glad to take the money, but are you sure? Is usually how I phrase it. I'm like, I'm glad to take.
And really it's about trying to do what's right for the affiliate and the customer. If they decide they really don't want it, then that's fine. But we really want to make sure that they at least have a fighting chance to have a system that's paid for, and if not, actually earning them some money they can use somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you approach it from that perspective from the very beginning, even though you may be talking about the product, if you end it with, did you know there is a way to get your marketing or whatever paid for, and this is how you do it. And I think if you can approach it in that way, and maybe even closer to the beginning, it's a great way to let them know that there's potential for getting their system paid for and getting their marketing paid for.
Yeah.
I've used something that Jordan Adler said years ago, which was, as he was showing a system, so who comes, I start with, so who comes to mind? Who do you think of when you hear this? Who comes to your mind? And then kind of, take it, depending on what they say, you may want to, take a look at the referral money that would come along with this if you wanted to do that, as well. Just sort of kind of back into it.
Yeah, and see, I used to back end it all the time, Linda. I really, it was a mindset thing, I'm sure. And I always led more with the product than the opportunity. I think partly because we've migrated from it costing to be an affiliate because we were a network marketing model to the affiliate model. And now I'm like, you know what? There's no cost to be a referral partner. So let's get you signed up today, because you never know who you're going to come across tomorrow or the next day that might need this system. And then you'll already have your referral code, and you can give that so that you actually get your costs offset. How does that
No,
sound?
I agree. I agree. I don't, nobody leaves that I haven't talked about the
Right.
affiliate program or a referral.
Mhm.
I feel guilty if I don't. If they give me a
Like,
referral, I'm going to say, I'll take the money. No, I have to remember my
yeah,
job is to give them that opportunity as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Marie, I know you're really successful with, I know you're a blueprint, so you have all of these processes laid out. So do you have any great words of advice for getting somebody started right?
I honestly really don't in that regard. I have not been good at getting affiliates. Really and truly, the affiliates that I have for the most part are the ones who came with me. They were people who were network marketers who came with me, um, who were personally sponsored by me. But no, I've not been good at doing what you guys are talking about at all.
That surprises me.
So I'm absorbing right now.
The system person. I'm sure that we're going to get some wise words of wisdom within the next few weeks, because it's all going to click in her head and she's going to have a whole formula for us.
The thing is, though, I mean, I just hate that this is recorded because start saying stuff I wish I hadn't said, but as long as I don't have to listen to it again. But I have many affiliates, but only two of them are bringing on any people. It's fine to have them be affiliates, but if they don't want to work the business, which they're not, and those people are few and far between in my circle of people. Not that they are few and far between, but I mean, it seems like such a no-brainer to me why everybody wouldn't be sharing this, but that's because I don't have another business. This is my business. So it's very logical for me to be doing it. So I don't know. I have an opportunity to get to another opportunity. So it remains to be seen whether I'll be able to. I plan to use Mailbox Power to grow that business. So we'll see how that works.
So, Linda, and I think this is a great topic, because I think a lot of people in Mailbox Power struggle with this. There are some people building it and it's their primary thing that they're building, but there are many people that is not the case, and they are building another business. So I think this is a good point to spend a few minutes on, of how do we help those people in real estate or insurance or whatever it is to get their system paid for. And I don't want to do all the work for them and let them get all the money. So when you were saying earlier of you stop doing that, but I also want you to think about that if they had their system paid for and tough times came and they had to think about what expenses they were going to get rid of, they're less likely to get rid of it. And so if we teach that and we help them, even if it's going to take a few extra hours of follow up to help them cement their membership paid for, and then teach them the tools instead of having everybody all the way down the line, because obviously an affiliate program is only 2 levels. But instead of having them all come to you, they could and pay you, like you said, or direct them to the tools of the overviews and the 101s, because then they don't have to do the presentation. So they don't have to feel like they have another job or that they are worried about. I find that if we offer the tools and we constantly say to them, there are all of these overviews and 101 trainings, that you can invite people to and just let the trainer know, whether you can be on or not, let the trainer know that you are going to have a guest. I have people reach out to me all the time and say, Brenda, I've got somebody that's brand new or is a guest and has never been to a presentation. They're going to be on your training on Tuesday. Would you please take care of them? And then I already know that it is somebody new that I have to help to kind of close the deal for them and get them back with the person who had invited them, so that somebody else is doing the work for them. That's the beauty of Mailbox Power and all of the trainings, the overviews that are offered.
Oh,
Well,
I would totally agree with that. I would totally agree with that.
I think the other thing too that Brenda has done is we have a client that's in Virginia. She's a real estate agent. When she came on, she says, well, what if I find 6, 7, 10 people? Would you be able to do the training? And Brenda said, absolutely. And what's happening there is you're doing the training one to many instead of one to
Yes.
one. So if you could find somebody that's willing to do that, put 10, 12, 15 people into a Zoom, it really does cut down on the number of times you have to do this. And it increases the likelihood of people signing up. I think she ended up with 6 signups.
7. Yeah.
7. So right now she's got not only her system paid for, but she's got the marketing budget to play with.
Yeah.
The other thing I think a lot of people struggle with, you have the time to help people get started right. But I think there's a lot of people in real estate insurance and that, and they see you helping them get started and spending the hour, and they think they're going to have to spend the hour. And they're like, I don't have an hour because my primary business is insurance, real estate, whatever it might be. But the other opportunity is the Done For You program. And I don't think it's talked about enough by our affiliates to point people over to the Done For You, especially now that it's only $149. There are lots of people that would pay $149 to get their essential touches, the 5 essential touches set up so that they could start using the system. If you think back, those of us who have been with the system for a while, we used to have a $297 setup fee just to get started with the system. And so for $149, that's an amazing deal. And you can turn people over to the Done For You trainers if you don't want to, or if you're willing to do it, you can always charge those 2nd and 3rd tier, which is what I did. I said, I'm glad to set it up. You all can do it yourself. We have a Done For You program, or I will offer doing that at a certain price for that training or that overview presentation. So it's a way, like you did with the 35, it's a way to get paid for your time to help others since they're getting the 40%.
Well, and I think it also makes them a little more accountable.
Yep.
And that's the part, is just don't just assume that I'm just going to take the ball and run with it, and I don't want to say, I don't get paid for these people. I haven't
Yep.
said that, but because I can't figure out a classy way to say it. So yeah, I want them to feel accountable to some degree.
Yep.
And to be honest, I have found a number of people who keep having it. They've had an executive account for, oh man, she's had it for 8 or 9 months. I don't think she sent a card. I don't think she's done anything. I've reached out to her. She's evidently doing very well in her mortgage business because she doesn't. Oh yes, I know. I'm going to get. I keep saying, let me. I reach out to her every once in a while. But so I wonder, in some instances, whether it's in some businesses, insurance, real estate, and mortgage, having it paid for is not a big deal. It's the smaller businesses that really comes into play.
That's true. The bigger mortgage insurance and real estate.
Right.
And those type of people that you're talking about that are so busy and have a booming business I've had people say to me long before we had the Done For You program that I had sat down and trained for an hour or took a second hour and set things up and trained. And they said to me, I wish I could just pay somebody to set this all up and do it for me. That's the type of person, Linda, that I would absolutely direct to the Done For You program, because they don't have a problem paying for it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Let them do it for you.
Yep.
Do we get a commission on that?
No. That is the prices were able to keep down low because there is no commissions paid on it. If commissions were paid, it would be a much higher item in order for the trainers that are doing it to get paid enough to make it worth their while.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And there's definitely people I'd like to recommend that to.
Is this a new announcement, the 149? Did I miss something?
So Philip, about 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, they announced a new Done For You program because they were finding that the 497 level people were they saw that front and center when they went to that page, and that scared them. So we now have a smaller offering. It is not the same offering it was before. If somebody wants everything that was offered before, the trainers can still offer that package, but it's just the 5 essential touches. It's a thank you, a nice to meet you, a birthday, a half birthday, and a holiday. And they have to choose from the designs that are for the Done For You program. It's not them go to the design catalog. It's a very limited selection of like 5 to 8, something like that, in each category that they can go through and say, okay, I want birthday number 1. I want half birthday number 4. I want thank you. And then we go in and set all those automations up for them with the groups, with their contact information, their photo, their logo, and all of that. And that's the 149.
Oh, that's a good deal.
It's an amazing deal.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
The trainers really got together, and Andrea's on here, and we wanted to make it reasonable, but not so low that the work we were doing, we were getting paid, very low. So we all came to an agreement, and it's an amazing deal. And then if people want more, they can pay to have more done.
Right. What if you're setting up the automations? What about the contact file upload, which a lot of people stumble on?
Yep. So Philip, in that 149 package, it is not specifically said that it will be uploaded. But I know that the majority of trainers, as long as the information is in a good format and is easy to upload, that we will include that. But they purposely didn't put that in there because many files are hours and hours to massage to get it ready to upload. Now, again, that is an additional charge if it's something that's going to be complicated that we can price out for the customer and do for them. It just depends on how many contacts and the how good
how clean the database is.
Yeah, how clean the database is. Thank you. I couldn't come up with the right word. Nanette.
Brenda, about the database, to switch subjects a little bit on you, on that, the Excel spreadsheet, do the columns need to be in the same sequence as in the?
No.
Okay. All right.
They just have to have the same headings.
No, they don't even have to have the same headings.
I thought they did.
A spreadsheet. So here's a little trainer tip. A spreadsheet can be 100 columns wide, and we can still import it into Mailbox Power. Many people think you've got to get it down to just the columns you're importing. That is not the case. All you have to have is you have to have first name separate from last name. You need street address separate from city, separate from state, separate from zip. And if you want a spouse, you need a spouse column. Birthday, you can import birthday, but those are the main things. Is the biggest problems we have with spreadsheets is first and last name are all in the same column. And lots of people have middle initials or junior, or there's like 5 words in the name. And that's where it becomes complicated to separate it if we need to do that. Or city, state, and zip is all in the same column. So as long as it's all separate, I don't care if there's 50 extra columns in the spreadsheet. I can import it in a matter of minutes into Mailbox Power.
Because I cleaned up a spreadsheet for someone that had all of that stuff junked together. And there were 80 or 90 names. It must have taken 2 hours to just clean up the database well enough to upload it. So I understand.
Next time, call me, Nanette, because I don't know if I could, but I'm pretty good with Excel spreadsheets, and I might have been able to do it in less time. No guarantees, but if you ever run into that, just call me. and you know, anybody for that matter, and if I can do it in a short period of time, I can charge just a small amount to do that work for you.
Good. Thank you.
And I have a virtual assistant in the Philippines for $7 US an hour that's been working on that stuff for me as we've been scraping some websites, and because that's the thing that's inconsistent when you're pulling information off the internet. So it's that's kind of the nightmare of database management.
Well, and Andrea made a really good point in the chat. And let's not forget about integrations, because she's our integration queen. And if it can be done,
she can do it.
She can do it. Like, I've seen her create some miracles when it comes to integrations. So if it's a system that she can use webhooks or use Zapier, or that there are lots of ways to integrate other CRMs with Mailbox Power. And
she's been able to do integrations nobody thought was possible.
Be done.
Oh, could we have a session on that sometime?
Yeah,
actually, she will. She'll be doing a presentation for you on the 20th, because we're going to be in the air. So the 20th, 2 weeks from today. What is that? Anyway, it's a Tuesday night call.
It's the 20th.
That Andrea has agreed to do for us, and she will talk to you about integrations. And
I'm sure
else.
she will. We're not going to tell her she has to, but it would be a good one for her to do an integration discussion.
Anthony.
Yes, were you all able to find that information that I have been asking for the what do real estate people and all that for the marketing? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, that sheet, we have put it in the group, Anthony. I think Mike put it right below the recording of that.
The cost per lead generation, is that what it is?
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, is that in the affiliate group?
Yes.
Yes, it's
in. Okay, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Yep. So
right,
we're way over 45 minutes. So we will bring this to a close, but it was again a great discussion. Thank you, Philip, for starting it off and giving us a challenge to work with, and we look forward to seeing you all next week. We do have a guest next week that will be with us, and it will be a surprise guest, so I'm not going to tell you who it is, but you will not want to miss it, and you will want to have all of your affiliates on. So let's get a huge turnout for next week for our guest appearance, our guest speaker, I should say. So
where are the recordings of these going?
In the affiliate group. We're posting them right in the affiliate group.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So,
We're also posting them to our YouTube channel as well.
yep.
Oh, okay.
So with that, I hope you all have an awesome week, and we will see you next Tuesday for Mailbox Power Builders.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great information.
Thank you.